The sun hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows across the battlefield of the alien planet known as Katara. Dust and smoke filled the air, mixing with the cries of wounded soldiers. Zarek, a brave soldier of the Taurian race, lay hidden behind a pile of rubble. His heart raced as he listened to the distant sounds of the enemy searching for survivors. The once proud city of his people now lay in ruins, and Zarek felt a deep sense of despair. Zarek had fought hard that day. His unit had been ambushed by a powerful enemy force. One moment, they were charging forward with determination, and the next, chaos erupted around them. Explosions rocked the ground, and shouts filled the air. Zarek had lost many friends in the fight, and now he was alone, surrounded by the remains of what used to be his home. As he crouched behind the rubble, Zarek's thoughts turned to his comrades. They had trained together, fought side by side, and shared dreams of victory. But now they were gone. He felt a heavy weight in his chest as he remembered their faces. Kara, the fierce warrior with a heart of gold, Rin, the strategist who always had a plan, and Miro, the jokester who could lighten any mood. Zarek closed his eyes, wishing he could turn back time, wishing he could have done something to save them. Suddenly, a loud noise broke his thoughts. Zarek peeked over the edge of the rubble and saw a group of enemy soldiers searching the area. They were looking for survivors, and Zarek knew he had to remain quiet. He held his breath, his heart pounding in his ears. The enemy was getting closer, and he felt a chill run down his spine. Just then, he thought of the humans he had heard about in stories. Humans, Zarek whispered to himself. They are said to be fierce and unpredictable. Would they come to help us? In his heart, he hoped the stories were true. Humans were known for their bravery, but they were also known to act without fear. Zarek knew he needed help, but would they really risk their lives for an alien soldier? As the enemy soldiers moved nearer, Zarek pressed himself deeper into the rubble. He felt the ground shake as an explosion went off nearby, sending a wave of dirt and debris into the air. He coughed, trying to clear his lungs, and felt panic rising within him. He could not die here. He had to survive for his fallen friends. Just when Zarek thought all hope was lost, a bright light suddenly lit up the sky. He squinted, shielding his eyes from the blinding glare. The enemy soldiers paused, looking up in confusion. A strange flying ship descended, its engines roaring as it landed nearby. Zarek's heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. Could this be the help he had longed for? The ship opened, revealing a group of humans in strange armor. They moved with purpose, their eyes scanning the area. Zarek could hardly believe his eyes. These were the humans he had heard of, the warriors who fought fiercely for their allies. He had always thought of them as a distant myth, but now they stood before him, ready to fight. As the humans quickly engaged the enemy, Zarek watched in awe. They fought with a mix of discipline and creativity, using their strange weapons and tactics to outsmart the enemy. Zarek felt a spark of hope ignite within him. He realized that perhaps he was not alone after all. Suddenly, one of the humans spotted him. Zarek's heart raced as the soldier gestured for him to come closer. At that moment, Zarek knew he had a choice to make. Should he trust these strangers, or should he remain hidden? The weight of his decision hung heavy in the air. With a deep breath, Zarek stepped out from behind the rubble, ready to join the fight and discover what lay ahead. He felt a strange mix of fear and excitement as he prepared to face his destiny alongside these brave humans. Zarek stepped out from behind the rubble, his heart pounding in his chest. The humans had spotted him, and he could feel their eyes on him. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself as he prepared to join this unexpected rescue mission. The air was thick with smoke, and the sound of gunfire echoed all around them. It was chaos, but for the first time, Zarek felt a flicker of hope. As he moved closer to the humans, he noticed their strange uniforms. They wore armor that seemed both tough and flexible, allowing them to move quickly. Each soldier carried a weapon that glowed with energy. Zarek marveled at their technology, so different from his own. The humans shouted commands to each other, working as a team, and he could see their determination. One of the human soldiers, a tall figure with short brown hair, stepped forward. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice calm yet urgent. Zarek didn't understand all the words, but he felt the sincerity behind them. He nodded, still unsure if he could trust these warriors. "Stay close to us," the human continued, pointing towards a nearby building. "We'll get you out of here!" Zarek felt a rush of gratitude. These humans were risking their lives to save him, a stranger from another world. As they moved towards the building, the enemy soldiers began to regroup. Zarek could see their faces twisted with anger. They had lost their advantage, and now they were determined to stop the humans at all costs. Zarek's heart sank. He knew the humans faced great danger. Suddenly, an explosion shook the ground. Zarek stumbled, but the human soldier grabbed his arm, pulling him back to his feet. "Keep moving!" he shouted. Zarek felt a surge of adrenaline as they raced towards safety, weaving through the debris. The sounds of battle surrounded them, shouts, blasts, and the whirring of energy weapons. Just as they reached the building, a group of enemy soldiers appeared ahead. They were heavily armed and seemed ready to fight. Zarek's instincts kicked in. He wanted to protect these humans who had come to save him. He could not let them down. Before Zarek could think, the human leader shouted, "Hold your positions!" The humans took cover, their eyes focused on the enemy. Zarek felt a rush of bravery. He might be an alien, but he was a soldier too. He had fought before, and he wouldn't let fear stop him now. With a roar, Zarek charged towards the enemy, surprising both the humans and the soldiers ahead. He leaped into action, using his training to dodge enemy fire. Zarek's heart raced as he engaged in combat, fighting alongside the humans for the first time. He felt alive, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The human soldiers watched in shock as Zarek fought. He moved with speed and grace, using his natural agility to evade attacks. The humans quickly adapted to his movements, working together seamlessly. They fired their weapons, covering Zarek as he closed in on the enemy. With a fierce battle cry, Zarek took down an enemy soldier, feeling a sense of victory wash over him. He glanced back at the human leader, who gave him an approving nod. In that moment, Zarek realized they were not so different after all. They were all warriors fighting for survival. The battle raged on, but Zarek felt a strong bond forming with the humans. They communicated through quick gestures and shouts, coordinating their attacks. Each time they took down an enemy, Zarek felt a renewed sense of hope. Together they were unstoppable. As the last of the enemy soldiers fell, Zarek stood panting, surrounded by his new allies. The humans cheered, clapping each other on the back. Zarek couldn't help but smile, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. He had survived and fought alongside these brave humans. "Let's get you out of here," the human leader said, breathing heavily but smiling. Zarek felt gratitude wash over him. He had never expected to find help in such a dark time. Together they would leave this battlefield behind and face whatever awaited them next. After the fierce battle, Zarek stood with the humans in the wreckage of the city. The sky was still smoky, but the air felt lighter now. He looked around at his new allies, their faces showing relief and victory. They had fought together and won, but there was more to do. Zarek knew they had to leave this dangerous place before more enemies arrived. The human leader, a tall soldier named Captain Harris, turned to Zarek. "We need to move quickly." "The enemy might regroup," he said, his voice firm. Zarek nodded, feeling a rush of respect for the humans. They had fought bravely and had saved his life. He realized that these humans were more than just warriors, they were friends. As they hurried towards the human ship, Zarek felt a sense of purpose. He had always fought for his people, but now he was fighting for something greater, a bond with these humans. They understood each other in ways he never expected. Together, they could be stronger than they ever could alone. Once they reached the ship, Zarek marveled at its design. It was sleek and shiny, unlike anything he had ever seen. The humans quickly boarded, and Zarek followed, eager to learn about their technology. Inside, the ship was filled with screens and buttons. Humans were busy at work, preparing for takeoff. Zarek felt excitement bubbling inside him. "Welcome aboard!" a cheerful voice called out. It was a young woman with bright eyes and a warm smile. "I'm Jenna, the ship's engineer. I'll make sure we get out of here safely." Zarek smiled back, grateful for her friendly nature. She reminded him of his sister back home. As the ship lifted off, Zarek gazed out of the window. The battlefield shrank below them, a reminder of the chaos they had just escaped. But as they soared higher, Zarek couldn't help but feel a new sense of hope. They were leaving behind the darkness and stepping into a new future. Once they were in the air, Captain Harris gathered everyone in the ship's main area. "Listen up, everyone," he said, his voice steady. "We just fought together, and now we have a chance to build something stronger. Zarek is one of us now. We can share our knowledge and fight against any enemy together. Zarek felt a warm rush of pride. He was no longer alone. He had allies, and they were willing to trust him. He looked around at the humans who nodded in agreement. They were ready to join forces, and it filled Zarek with determination. After the meeting, Zarek began to train with the humans. They showed him their weapons and tactics, and he taught them some of his own skills. They practiced fighting techniques, each learning from the other. Zarek was impressed by how quickly the humans adapted. They were fierce and smart, always eager to learn. Days passed as they flew through space. Zarek and the humans shared stories of their lives. He learned about Earth, the humans' home planet, filled with lush forests and vast oceans. They spoke of their families, their dreams, and the battles they had faced. Zarek felt a strong connection to them, as if they were not so different after all. One evening, as they sat together sharing a meal, Jenna spoke up. "Zarek, what do you miss most about home?" she asked, her voice gentle. Zarek paused, thinking of his family and the beauty of Katara. "I miss the stars," he replied softly. "They shine brightly over my home, and I always feel at peace when I see them." The humans nodded, understanding his longing. "We'll help you find a way to return home one day," Captain Harris promised. "But for now we have each other, and that makes us stronger." Zarek smiled, feeling grateful for their support. As the ship traveled through the stars, Zarek knew that he had found a new family. They were no longer just humans and an alien soldier. They were warriors united by friendship and a shared goal. Together they would face any challenge that lay ahead, ready to protect each other and fight for a better future. Zarek felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that their journey was just beginning. As the ship sailed through the stars, Zarek felt a sense of belonging he had never known before. The humans welcomed him with open arms, and he was eager to learn more about their ways. Days turned into weeks, and the crew became like a second family to him. They shared laughter, stories, and even fears, forging bonds that transcended their differences. One afternoon, while the ship floated in a quiet part of space, Jenna approached Zarek. "Hey, do you want to join us for a game?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Zarek was puzzled. He had never played games like humans did. "What kind of game?" he asked cautiously. "It's called hide and seek," Jenna exclaimed. "It's simple and fun. You'll love it." Zarek hesitated but could see the enthusiasm on her face. The other crew members gathered around, eager to join in. Finally, he agreed, curious about this human pastime. As they prepared for the game, Zarek watched the humans as they split into teams. They laughed and teased each other, creating an atmosphere of joy. Zarek felt nervous at first. He didn't want to look foolish. But the humans reassured him, telling him it was all in good fun. The game began, and Zarek quickly discovered he was a natural at hiding. He found a small space behind some equipment and squeezed in. From his hiding spot, he watched as the humans searched for him, their faces lighting up with laughter as they looked in all the wrong places. For the first time in a long time, Zarek felt free and happy. He realized that friendships were not just about fighting together, they were also about sharing joyful moments. After several rounds, it was Zarek's turn to seek. He felt the thrill of the chase as he counted to 10, the excitement building inside him. "Ready or not, here I come!" he shouted, rushing through the ship. He found Jenna first, and they both giggled as she emerged from her hiding spot. As the game continued, Zarek felt himself relax. He started to see each human not just as a soldier, but as a person with dreams and quirks. Captain Harris, for example, was terrible at hiding, but always made the best jokes. Zarek couldn't help but laugh at his attempts to squeeze behind the ship's control panel. Jenna was quick and clever, always finding the best hiding spots, while another crew member, Marcus, was incredibly competitive, determined to win at any cost. After the game, Zarek and the crew gathered for a meal. They shared food from different planets, telling stories about their favorite dishes. Zarek loved hearing about Earth's rich flavors. He was particularly fascinated by the concept of pizza, a dish with various toppings that seemed to unite flavors. The crew promised to make him a pizza when they returned to Earth, and he couldn't wait to try it. During the meal, Jenna raised her glass. "To new friendships!" she declared, her voice bright. The others raised their glasses, repeating her words with enthusiasm. Zarek felt warmth spread through him as he joined in the toast. He had never felt this connected to anyone before. After the meal, they gathered in the ship's common area to share stories about their homes. Zarek told them about Katara, his planet filled with vast landscapes and beautiful stars. He described the shimmering lakes and the towering mountains that reached the sky. The humans listened with rapt attention, captivated by his words. In turn, the humans shared stories about Earth. They talked about bustling cities, quiet forests, and the oceans that surrounded their home. Each story painted a picture in Zarek's mind, and he felt himself growing fonder of this strange planet he had never visited. As the night wore on, Zarek realized how much he had changed. Once a solitary soldier, he now felt surrounded by friends who accepted him without judgment. They laughed together, learned from each other, and supported one another. Zarek felt stronger with each passing day, knowing he had a team by his side. With his heart full, Zarek looked out at the stars through the ship's window. The universe was vast and filled with possibilities. He knew their journey was far from over, but he felt ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. Together, they were united in friendship, ready to conquer any enemy that stood in their way. As the ship traveled through the cosmos, Zarek felt a deep sense of purpose. He had come a long way since he first met the humans. What began as a chance encounter had blossomed into a friendship that changed his life. The bond they had forged gave him strength, and he was determined to help them in any way he could. One morning, as the ship glided silently through the stars, Captain Harris called a meeting in the main area. The crew gathered, their faces serious but hopeful. "We have received some new information," he announced, glancing at the screen behind him. "Our scouts have located the enemy's base. We need to plan our attack." Zarek's heart raced. This was the moment they had been preparing for. The crew discussed strategies, each person offering ideas based on their strengths. Zarek shared his knowledge of tactics from his home world. He spoke confidently, and the humans listened carefully. For the first time, he felt like an equal among them. "We should use a distraction," Zarek suggested. "If we create chaos near their defenses, we can slip in and attack their main weapon." The crew nodded, impressed with his plan. Jenna chimed in. "I can rig some of our tech to create a false alarm. They won't know what hit them." As they continued to discuss the plan, Zarek felt a sense of belonging wash over him. He had once felt lost and alone, but now he was part of something bigger, a mission that meant saving lives. Together they were a team, united by their shared goal. Days passed as they prepared for the battle. The crew worked tirelessly, checking their equipment and practicing their roles. Zarek trained alongside them, honing his skills. He felt stronger and more confident with each passing day. He knew he had friends who believed in him, and that made all the difference. Finally, the day of the attack arrived. The atmosphere was tense, but excitement buzzed in the air. The crew boarded the ship, ready to face the enemy. Zarek stood with Jenna and Captain Harris, feeling a mix of nervousness and determination. "We can do this," Harris said, his voice steady. "We're ready." As the ship approached the enemy base, Zarek's heart pounded. They flew low, keeping out of sight. When they reached their target, Jenna initiated the distraction. Explosions erupted in the distance, lighting up the sky. The enemy was caught off guard and chaos ensued. "Now!" Captain Harris shouted. The crew leaped into action. Zarek felt the adrenaline rush through him as they stormed the base. He fought alongside the humans, their movements synchronized. Together, they charged forward, pushing back the enemy with precision and teamwork. The battle was fierce, but Zarek and his friends fought valiantly. Zarek's strength and skill combined with the humans' tactics created an unstoppable force. As they pressed on, he could see the fear in the eyes of their opponents. They were no longer just a soldier from Katara. He was a warrior fighting for his new family. After what felt like an eternity, they reached the enemy's main weapon. Zarek and Jenna worked together, disabling it while Captain Harris held off the remaining guards. The teamwork was seamless, and Zarek could hardly believe how far they had come. With the weapon destroyed and the enemy retreating, the crew celebrated their victory. Zarek felt a sense of pride swell within him. They had done it. They had fought together, and they had won. The humans cheered, and Zarek joined in, feeling like he truly belonged. As they returned to their ship, Zarek looked out at the stars, feeling hopeful for the future. They had faced danger and come out stronger together. He knew there would be more challenges ahead, but he felt ready to face them alongside his friends. In the days that followed, Zarek reflected on everything he had learned. The humans had taught him the power of friendship and unity. He had found a place where he was valued and respected. No longer was he just an alien soldier, he was a vital part of a family. As they sailed through the stars, Zarek smiled, knowing they would continue to fight for justice and protect one another. Together, they had created a bright future filled with hope, friendship, and endless possibilities. Zarek felt grateful for the path he had taken, and he knew he would never be alone again.